Back with us at the UWI JPL Captain Horace Morrell Centre of Excellence for the first game in our doubleheader today. Cavalier Dunbeholden battling in match week 8 of the Jamaica Premier League, powered by Digicel. And this clash featuring the defending champions against arguably the slickest moving team in the Premier League so far this season. Although their copybook has been blotted in recent weeks, Dunbeholden, when you take the totality of what they've shown, it's hard to argue that there has been a team other than them who've been the most pleasing on the eye of all 12 teams in this Jamaica Premier League. The boys in black and white for so long, known as Duncan Destroyers, and forever tagged with the image and the impact of their founder. But they've shed that tag now. They're now Speed's champions because Rudolph Speed has authored a new chapter in the Cavalier history. And that chapter is all about glory, trophies, the big trophy to show for their exploits. Narissa Goldson, Melvin Reed, Chavara Dennis, and Romain McKnight are the officials running today's game.
FIFA, fair play this. Slide our ball. Stay this side. Kick off his ears. Have a good game, guys. My team, all for one, one for all. Let's see everything's in.
Alright, 43rd, that'll come in 44th.
So we eavesdropped on referee's business. 43rd, 44th, water break, the last thing before they broke the huddle. This is the Cavalier starting 11. Vino Bartlett in goal. Richard King, Jamoy Topi, Kyle Ming, Giovanni Leng, Nicoshe Murray, Melvin Doxley, the St. Lucian, Lamont Rochester, Ronaldo Webster, Kenroy Campbell, and Dwayne Atkinson.
And they'll be playing with a 3-4-1-2 formation. Well, all the regular starters back into the lineup. Good to see Jadine White on the bench as well.
Yes, haven't seen him for a while. A word of prayer for the Dunbeholden boys from St. Catherine, from the Sugar Belt, if you can call it that, in St. Catherine, Portmore to be precise. Damien Hyatt in goal, Shaquille Dyer, Sean Dewar, Rashawn Taylor, Cleon Pusey, Rodave Murray, good to see him back after a long absence, Demario Phillips, Fabian McCarthy, Shakeen Powell, Nicoy Christian, and the hot striker, Tafaroy Bygrave.
4-2-3-1 for Dunbeholden. This is probably their best 11, and what we saw at the start of the season when we were so impressed. Looking forward to see what they can bring today.
Yeah, but for McPherson, who is missing from the lineup today for Dunbeholden, I would agree with you. So I'd say that this is the strongest 10 they have. McPherson usually in one of the fullback positions, not there today. So yeah, it is 10/11ths of their strongest team, so it's almost there. So here we are. That's Shaquille Dyer, the skipper, 26 years old, big man for Dunbeholden in the back. And he has a lot of admirers. Had a conversation recently with a man at the supermarket who was wondering why Shaquille Dyer wasn't being looked at by the national senior team. And I said, well, the players have a chance for the next time a Reggae Boys team is assembled. You'll see a few new faces, I'm suggesting, based on what we've seen in the JPL so far. So the watch is synchronized and we are off and running. The wind has whipped up here to coincide with the start of the game. And Kyle Ming with the first attempt, header, trying to redirect it across the 18-yard box, but it ran through to Damien Hyatt. Doxley angrily stormed off the field the last time we saw Cavalier when he was substituted in the second half and kicked a water bottle out of his frustration. Felt he was doing well enough to stay on the park. Rudolph Speed wanted something different, and you can't argue against the coach's decision not to after you've won 3-0. There he is, Rudolph Speed, technical director, and a man who will go down in Cavalier history. Anyway, here's Webster. Danger for Dunbeholden. Good turn. The cross comes in. This is Campbell. Sets it up for Atkinson, and his shot goes high. Deflected behind for a corner. Dunbeholden's defense at 6s and 7s very early.
Well, block took too long, Atkinson, and the block came in the end. But yeah, too much space allowed early. But as I said, there's been a bit of shift and changing in that defense line today, with Pusey coming into the right back position. So Dua is partnering Dyer.
Murray with this corner, back post, and it's met by Gio Leng, and it runs behind for a goal kick. So Cavalier showing their intent early, played less than 2 minutes. Atkinson with this chance. This is Webster, gets away from Dewar. Campbell sets it up nicely for Atkinson, but then the block came in. Very, very crucial intervention from Taylor there. Dunbeholden, they like to be meticulous from the back, and then they launch long and try to hit Bygrave if he's starting, or Dean Andre Thomas when he's not. They looked listless, looked off colour against Arnett Gardens last time, Dunbeholden, in that 2-1 loss. Late consolation scored for them by a Tafferoy Bygrave. 2-1 makes the game sound close. It wasn't. And they're hoping to right the wrongs of a week ago. Christian and trying to combine with Cleon Pusey on this right-hand side. Here we have Nerissa Golson, one of a clutch of outstanding female referees who distinguished themselves over the past few seasons in this Jamaica Premier League and in the schoolboy competition. There's a tall man laying it off. Jamal Topi forward to his captain, and this is Webster. Has gone short to collect it, but being hunted down by Dewar, and Dewar fouls him. Dewar reaching, trying to get the ball, but Webster protecting it well, and it's the first free kick of the game, going to the team in white and black. Phillips runs back to take charge of the situation. Trying to find Murray, the ex-Dintil technical star in schoolboy football. Hasn't quite lived up to the promise. Oh, lovely play by Doxley. He lost out. Powell forward to Murray, and Powell is taken out. We may see the first card of the game. She went to her top pocket, and Kenroy Campbell has committed the first transgression, sufficient enough for Nerissa Golson to book him.
Wow, that's a big deal. Just 5 minutes into the game. For the man of the match from the previous game for Cavalier, Kenroy Campbell, really had an excellent one. Not much in that, just a bit late. Actually tried to pull out.
I thought he lost his footing as well, yeah. So he's unfortunate.
Very unlucky.
Dewar under pressure from Webster. These two have had a mini duel early in this contest. Hyatt goes long, but only finds Doxley in midfield as Cavalier dominate the early proceedings. Lengths pass to Rochester was misdirected. Here's Pusey. Clashing with Campbell and coming off second best Pusey. May have been the ankle, right ankle, as we look at Harold Thomas, experienced, the gaffer for Dunbeholden. Nice man, Harold Thomas, dignified man, rather like him. And he's had good teams in this Premier League over the years, Harold Thomas. Fans from Spanish Town love him, they remember him because he was the coach who coached the last good team from that part of the country, Rivoli United. Here's Nicoy Christian, father grumpy, but he can play, make no mistake. And I hope he doesn't take exception to the nickname, but it's just what he does on the field. He's always berating teammates, never happy. As we see Webster trying to hunt this one down. He gets there, Webster. What are the options? This is Campbell. Goes outside to his captain, Ming. Fires the cross and it's blocked by Taylor. And then Phillips coming back to help his team defend. He gives away a throw. Cavalier still on the front foot. Lovely play by Powell to get rid of Webster, who was trying to effect an unorthodox block. It didn't work. Dwayne Atkins picks up possession now. Gets away from Dyer. Can't get away from Pusey though, and it's a Cavalier throw. Rochester doesn't know what he or where he wants to throw it to. He leaves it for length. Here's Damien Hyatt, 36 years old, and fitter than I've seen him in about 3 seasons. He's losing the bulge he had around the middle and has trimmed up, Chris.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and it's helped his agility. 2 matches ago, man of the match performance, outstanding. Did get some slack for the last game where his team actually thought he should have done better with his hands in terms of how he executed some of the saves that cost them in the end. But yeah, Hyatt has looked a lot better this season with his reduced weight.
Here's Murray with this free kick. Cavalier continuing to press. None of the Dunbeholden attackers have had the possession in the Cavalier defensive third. It's been all Cavalier so far. Murray wins this in. It's the header from Atkinson. Just a glance behind him, but cleared Hyatt's crossbar.
Probably the shortest man on the park. Dwayne Atkinson did well though. But yeah, always going over. Damien Hyatt certainly had it covered. There it was, always going over. He was actually underneath the ball initially, and so there was no way for that to come down. But yeah, great to see Damien Hyatt. I want to continue that point. A man who has won the Premier League twice, national status at the point, and 2 games ago you certainly took us back to those times where he was really on top of his game and got that national selection. And excellent to see that even at 6 years of age, that he's still aspiring to do better and keep himself in shape. Damien Hyatt will only help Dunbeholden's cause or move to really impact this league.
Yeah, you said a lot of good things there. I'm going to pick the best part, which is the fact that at 36 years old, ambition still burns bright in Damien Hyatt. I think that's commendable, and that's helped him to trim down and get himself in better shape to play for longer in this league. The goalkeeper at 36 has good years ahead of him if they can take care of themselves. Just saw Gigi Buffon sign a new contract at Parma that will keep him at the club until he's about 80. So
he's not far off.
No, he's about 43 years old, and like Old Man River, he keeps going. Phillips switches play. Can Pews together? Yes, he can, but he can't keep it in. That's well, it looked as if it went out, but the assistant, who was on point, didn't so flag. Dunbeholden have yet to start as an attacking force. It's been all Cavalier. No doubt buoyed by the manner of their last performance, that 3-0 win against Mobay United. And looking to settle into the kind of groove that you expect from a team defending a Premier League title, not the mishmash, hodgepodge of performances, inconsistency we saw earlier. There were some anemic performances, player indiscipline, and I go back to Brian English, Chris. We haven't seen him since that red card against Waterhouse. That was in their 2nd game of the season.
Yeah.
So
he's not been even on the match card.
No, he's been in the doghouse somewhere, perhaps in Siberia, far away from the action. But yeah.
It was loose play. In fact, it's very unlike Cavalier.
Yeah, and very out of character for the player himself. So I wondered what happened that day. Anyway, here's Ming trying to work around Powell. Powell was grappling with him, but Powell was also being grabbed by Ming, and the assistant referee helping Larissa Golson to make the decision in favor of Dunbeholden. In 2016, Dunbeholden, their rise, you wouldn't say it's meteoric because Mount Pleasant have come fast, but in 2016, Dunbeholden were playing in the St. Catherine Community League with the likes of Greater Portmore and Independence City. And here they are, 6 years later, they're a solid Premier League team.
Sitting in 4th position.
Yes, sir.
13 points, 4 wins from their 7 matches. So excellent start for them. And as I said, they've had some administrative issues where Dave Murray has been out by grave in terms of injury. 2 of their better attacking players, and they were really what made them fluent in the early part of those seasons where they amassed those wins. And you could see in their last game they just lacked that potency. Yes, DeAndre Thomas is a hard worker, but doesn't add that same element, and it's great to see them back in the lineup. And well, they haven't really been busy up front so far, but you'd like to think that once that chemistry gets going again, they'll be difficult.
Yep. Murray does well. Well, Webster does well under pressure, but he was forced to retreat, but his team retained possession, which is the critical thing. So Cavalier playing all the football in this one. Dunbeholden, oh, it's a loose pass that Leng has to retrieve. May go back to his goalkeeper, and he does. Sensible thing, Vino Bartlett. His form so good, this man, that Even though Jadine White is ready once again, Jadine White is watching proceedings from the bench this afternoon. Topi, excellent to get rid of Phillips. Needs a passing option. Goes long trying to hit Dwayne Atkinson, but yeah, Atkinson acknowledges the idea. There he is, Jadine White, the ex-St Andrew Technical High School man. I don't feel sorry for professional teams or competitive teams, but I have a little tinge of something for Jadine White and that stats team that year, Chris, when they didn't win the Manning Cup title after having every chance. I felt a little something. Don't tell anybody I said so, but yeah, just because of him, he was so good that year. I really think that excellence ought to be rewarded. But, you know, it is what it is.
Excellent leader, especially at the schoolboy level. It was a tough defense that Philip Williams had assembled. It wasn't just him alone, but he was a leader and made a big difference. As I said, it was 2017 actually.
Atkinson accused of using his hand. He frees Webster. Can he get there? But the Hyatt saw him, and even so, it was a little bit too long for Webster, and the wind pushed the ball along the turf as well. We saw the devastating use of the long ball yesterday from Malines United. That's how they got their goal against Arnett Gardens, and then Arnett returned the favour. Marlon Martin, a tremendous long ball from inside his half, freeing the Mari Deacon to win the penalty. But that German Nelson pass to his brother. The Nelsons combining for Malines to open the scoring. Tremendous. Dave Murray wins possession, sends Bygrave running, but he's offside. "28 years old now, Atafaroy Bygrave. And in the best period of his career, knows what his body can do. Confidence not an issue. Knows that defenses in this Jamaica Premier League fear him. And he's trading on the currency of that fear to score goals. He has 6 of them already, and he hasn't played most games. He's missed 2 games and has been a substitute in some others, but still doing the business.
Yeah, and that's a different element to the attack for Dunbeholden because he has size, aggressive, stately figure. Very unlike the nifty, the quick, skillful players that they have, speedy players that they have as well. Dunbeholden, he adds some form of versatility to their attack. And certainly this season we'd have to say, if you're talking about number 9s, he would have to have been the best we've seen so far this season in terms of his form and his clinical ability.
I wouldn't argue against anything qualifying Atafaroy Bygrave to be the best forward, best striker we've seen this season. I don't think that's an argument at all. We can argue about defenders and midfielders and goalkeepers, but I think where the best striker in the league is concerned, it's a competition of one, and that one is Bygrave.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of the other forwards who have been doing well are wing forwards, as we would say, somewhat like, as you say, a Webster or Cephas, the wide players, but as a central striker,
yeah.
And number 9, Bygrave, I think, stands alone.
And to simplify the questions for viewers, you'd ask them, okay, if you can pick one striker to score goals for you in the Premier League, who would you pick? The answer has to be Bygrave.
As you said, he's missed 2 games. Come on as a substitute in 2. They've only played. But I said, it's just what he brings. It brings another dimension to this Dunbeholden attack, which makes everything come together. You don't necessarily want all runners.
Dewar tidied up his own mess from his bad first touch. Doxley, the ball pinballing around and laying under pressure, trying to get rid of it with Bygrave closing him down. Couldn't connect with Rochester. Well, the 3rd time that Leng has missed his pass to Rochester. The coordination between those two not quite on point just yet. Pusey. Clash of the 14s there. Pusey wears 14 for the team in blue and Rochester wears 14 for the team in white. This is Phillips, robbed of it by Atkinson.
Phillips, the James Milner of Dunbeholden.
Yes, sir.
Can play in every position.
And plays them well.
Yeah.
Atkinson can't keep that one in though. Tight on the touchline. And his touch a bit loose, Dwayne Atkinson. So Dyer in the back for Dunbeholden. Skipper looking for a passing option, always has Dewar to use. Here's Taylor. Pass forward is poor. And here's Phillips now. Forward, trying to hit Bygrave. Bygrave gets there, into the box, he shoots! Wow! Vina Barkley behind it, saw it all the way, but just a hint of the danger of the man. Just took 2 touches into the 18-yard box on the left foot and decided to try his luck. This is Phillips freeing him. Kind of areas he likes to be played in. And yeah, easy save in the end.
Yeah, good strike. Realized he didn't have any help at Taffar by Graves, so just attempted the shot. Good power behind it, but it was always going to be an easy save for Bartlett. But yeah, Phillips again, Demario Phillips just dropping into that pocket. And yeah, nice little ball over the top. And as I said, because of his size as well, Bygrave, you don't want to get too close as a defender.
So the 876 spring water, uniquely Jamaican, that product is, they say. And it is. It's the official sponsor of the water break here. Usually they take the water break around about the 23-22 minute mark, but they've taken it early. And Damien Hyatt requiring some extra treatment. Vina Bartlett, his opposite number, is in his own 18-yard box. Bartlett, he had a hand problem first, and then now he's doing some stretches. And Nerissa Golson trotting up to look to inquire of the Cavalier goalkeeper if he's well. Back to his feet, and I think that answer is a yes. So I've given 876 an extra entitlement, no problem. So we had that water break, impromptu and unsanctioned, because both goalkeepers went down, so the players just took the opportunity to run to get refreshed. Let's see if Nerissa Golson sends them to get water again in minute 23. I'm suspecting that she will. Here's Leng in the back for Cavalier.
I hope not.
Being closed down by Bygrave, and McCarthy's header to Christian misdirected. That man is the only man on the pitch, apart from perhaps Bygrave as well, who Christian doesn't get visibly cross with if they don't give him the kind of ball. So this is Christian. Will be aiming for the back post, I suspect. But he goes near post, and it's met by Nicochet Murray. The ball not dead. Shot on goal by Taylor through a crowd. Murray sets it up for Phillips. Oh, it's in! Demario Phillips! Against the run of play, Dunbeholden have struck in the 22nd minute. There were about 3 headers in the box, none of them by a Cavalier player. Dunbeholden picking up the pieces, and very intelligent by Rodave Murray. You see the big smile, the beaming smile on Harold Thomas's face because of Rodave Murray's intelligence in that area to lay it back for Phillips. His shot took a deflection into the net, and Rudolph's speed, obviously, it's obvious, Chris, why he's unhappy.
Yeah, very unaware in terms of defensive effort from Cavalier. But Dunbeholden continue their dominance over Cavalier in the Premier League. And here's another example. Excellent start. There's never been a goalless encounter between these two teams. And that start continues. Demario Phillips, second of the season. Slight deflection, as you said, George, but nevertheless, poor defending by Cavalier. They're almost standing around and watching. And Demario Phillips certainly made things happen.
Oh, yes. And now the official water break has been signaled by Nerissa Golson. And yeah, 876 spring water, uniquely Jamaican. I hope our manager for finance doesn't have cause to call me for the extras, but it is what it is. There you go. But here's the thing, though. There was this thing about numbers back. It's an overrated point about having numbers back. Numbers back doesn't mean you'll defend properly, because Cavalier had everybody back. And as you said, Chris, they were statuesque, watching the ball pinging around, and poor old Gio Leng was the man whose deflection lifted the ball beyond his goalkeeper.
Yeah, very reactive in terms of their effort. And as you said, numbers back helps in terms of getting in a block, maybe. But as you said, when you get back, you certainly want to be attentive and look at what's happening. And Cavalier certainly didn't do that, and it shows their lack of experience maybe in the back line in terms of age. And Demar Phillips, as I said, certainly making it count. A man who has played all over the park, well, except in the goal for Dunbeholden, but all over the midfield and even in the attacking side of things. And very good at being in the right place at the right time. Demario Phillips, their number 9.
I hope the powers that be give him the goal. I know some who will say it's an own goal. It was a shot on target. I like when strikers get their goals. I like when attackers get their goals, or players striking at goal get their due. And yeah, I'd be rather grumpy if they gave it as an OG, because Gio Leng doesn't want it. Giovanni Leng doesn't want it.
Yeah. Well, from you said it was a shot on target.
Yes,
it
sir.
will go to him. So.
Yes, sir. Well, I've seen strange things happen, so that's why I'm just
true.
saying.
This is true. The TV will help.
So Cavalier get a corner immediately after the resumption. We've done more than a few games where there's a goal coming out of the water break. So Dunbeholden must be careful here that they don't suffer the same fate. This is Kenroy Campbell trying to help his team build back their offensive momentum. 6 of them in the box in white shirts, including the tall man Jamoy Topi. It's low onto the near post, and it wasn't clever to defend it. Still not clear. Topi wins back possession. Goes down, looking for a call from the referee, and she hands it to him. The assistant on that side, who was just yards away, didn't raise his flag to signal a foul. But Nerissa Golson stepped in to exert her authority and award the free kick for this. Topi was playing for it and got just what he wanted.
Very soft. Realized he couldn't have retrieved the ball, and then just fell over a big man like Topi. Come on.
This is Kenroy Campbell lining this up, jostling in the box. Corners whipped in, headers from Dyer, and it's a goal kick. When I thought he came off Shaquille Dyer, but it's a goal kick, says the assistant on that far side.
I was about to say it was almost an excellent finish by Dyer.
Well, why no corner unless there was an infringement? Let's see it again. Yeah, that's a corner. Dyer headed it behind.
In fact, there was no Cavalier player even challenging for the ball.
Yep. So the skipper gets away with one.
Maybe just this. It shouldn't have been a free kick in the first place. So
yeah.
Things come around.
That's saying that coaches hate to hear the line about things will even themselves out over the course of a season.
Just the nature of sport.
Well, I tell you what, if Liverpool lose the Premier League by 3 points to Man City, that non-call at Everton will not have evened itself out.
You're a wicked man.
That's Harold Thomas. Beaming smile when Phillips' shot was deflected in, and why not?
You mentioned that Rivoli team earlier. What an exciting team that was, Rivoli United. You remember the name Devon Hodges?
Oh, yes.
The man who won the Golden Boot twice in a row, Devon Hodges.
The all-time leading goal scorer in Premier League history in Jamaica.
Yeah. 2008 and 2009. Leading goal scorer, some over 40 goals between the 2 seasons at Rivoli.
Hodges played for Tivoli, played for Mount Pleasant, played for a fair few teams, Devon Hodges. And his son was a part of the Mount Pleasant setup, Devontae Hodges. Bygrave pinches possession into the goal scorer Phillips. This is McCarthy. Haven't seen much of him on the ball because Dunbeholden haven't had much of the ball. Christian to Phillips. They're trying to exert some control now, the boys in blue. Excellent tackle by Doxley to strip Phillips. Campbell didn't see a pass he liked and he went down. Felt he was fouled. Nerissa Golson didn't agree. Phillips forward to Bygrave, but Bygrave gathered it because Leng's clearance was poor. His pass out was poor. Christian, McCarthy, Murray, Powell, back to Murray. Can he get there? Yes, he can. Needs help. Taylor offering him that outlet. Now he uses Taylor. Further back to McCarthy. Dunbeholden keeping it and moving it around. Back on the cross. Dyer goes long. Well, switches it to Taylor.
Lovely pass.
Taylor tried to find Murray with that one.
But these players like McCarthy and Christian will really cherish this surface. You really saw how they struggled in Draxall because of the unevenness. Touch players who like to play one-touch passes, short passes, and generally have really good control. This kind of surface suits them.
Pusey whips in the cross! And he couldn't get a touch for Dave Murray at the near post. Ran through as if he was disappointed that he mistimed his runner. It was just too long for him. And it's behind outside for, is it a throw to Cavalier? Nobody got a touch. I think it's a throw to the team in white.
Yeah. Excellent ball put across the box into the business area, the 6-yard box. Bygrave was a little bit late, it must be said, in terms of attacking that 6-yard area. And excellent work. Patient build-up yet again from Dunbeholden, which we have grown to know from them, especially in the early part of the season. There's question marks about Rodave Murray's fitness. I wonder, having missed so many games, is he really match fit? Will he be able to last the 90 minutes? It certainly looks a little bit off tempo at the moment. We do know he's a quality player in terms of touch and ability. But yeah, being out of the team for so long, it will take him a time to fully get back into the running of things, the number 31.
Ming tangles with McCarthy and comes out second best, but it's still a Cavalier ball. Here's Atkinson to Ming. Ming and the offside line played very well by the Dunbeholden defenders, all in a line, and when Ming drifted beyond them, in unison they raised their hand appealing to the assistant referee for the offside flag, and they got it.
The irony about the goal as well, Judge, considering that, as we said, guilty of just standing around, as you said, numbers back, but just being very unaware. This is a team that came into this match with the best defensive record. I mean, with just 6 goals conceded, tied for the best defensive record with Mount Pleasant. But as you said, you would think then that they would have been very attentive and aware of what was happening, but it was not to be. Coming off of a clean sheet as well, Cavalier.
Well, you've benefited from formal coaching and played in organized good level competitions in your time. You know that nothing infuriates a coach more than when there are 4 touches in the penalty box and you don't get any. Bygrave! Oh, the first touch just wasn't clean because he would have been in a Tafferoy Bygrave. But Dunbeholden look a transformed team. Started slowly, Cavalier pressed them, dominated them early. But they've come into their own, the St. Catherine team. They have the lead and they have a sense of danger about them.
Yeah, more touch players within the middle of the park, or Dave Murray now in. Their main strike up front, Bygrave, giving those diagonal runs. It's just amazing what a couple change of faces can do.
Murray, bumped by Gio Leng, no call. I thought that was a foul, that was a clear shoulder in the back. But the assistant was right in front of it, right on point, didn't flag.
Yeah, too tentative, I think. There was certainly, it was not a shoulder to shoulder.
No.
So that should have been a foul. Dave Murray certainly had protected the ball very well.
Dopey looking for a long pass and trying to hit Atkinson, and he finds him down this left-hand channel. Well, it's actually Lamont Rochester. And the low cross is, well, Pusey had more time. He didn't know, and he apologizes to his teammates now, acknowledging that he should have dealt with this better rather than give up a cheap throw.
Well, both number 14s guilty of poor play.
Yes,
Rochester had so much time.
I was surprised he passed so early.
Yeah, exactly. And then Pusey himself had all day. He's a new member of the defensive lineup for Dunbeholden.
King, oh, lovely from Richard King. One pirouette, sending 2 Dunbeholden attackers grasping at air. Richard King. They broke down, but now they're back with Nick Murray. Harold Thomas seated and comfortable. Rudolph Speed standing and exasperated, a contrast in the body language of the coaches in this game. Murray trying to work himself around his namesake, Nickashay for Cavalier, losing the ball, but referee Goldson didn't feel he was fouled. Here's Rochester to Nickashay Murray, away from Christian. Atkinson finds Kyle Ming, ball too short. The pass was a little bit too short, undercooked, but the captain appreciating that Atkins was trying to find him. Their speed, as I said, just agitated and unhappy with bits and pieces of what his team are producing up to this point. Harold Thomas, in contrast, is chilled on the Dunbeholden bench. Here's Atkinson to Webster. Duar. Good challenge. And Shakeen Powell puts it into touch. It's a throw to Cavalier. Yep. Thomas nice and easy like Monday afternoon. Said nobody before now. It's easy on a Sunday morning, but it's easy for him. Comfortable. Speed, not so much. King in the back for Cavalier. They're building slowly once again. Murray. And don't know who that pass was for, but was misdirected. Atkinson trying to drive around Dyer, who sensed what was going to happen and just gave himself enough room in case Atkinson was going to jet past him. There's big Shaquille Dyer, 26 years old, centre half, leader of this Dunbeholden unit, and another key cog in this blue machine that Harold Thomas has the privilege of guiding in this Jamaica Premier League. Hyatt goes long, but because of the wind, the ball barely passes the half line, you know. Webster protected the ball well. Ming now. Cross comes in looking for Atkinson, who was the lone Cavalier player in the box. Pusey's pass out to Christian is good. Back to Pusey. McCarthy. Powell. Dyer. Phillips. Dunbeholden looking very confident in possession. No space too tight for them to pass the ball through, and everyone comfortable with the ball at their feet. It's turned over though, and Doxley plays Nicochet Murray, who asks Topi to get involved. This is Kenroy Campbell around the corner to Webster. Wider wide to Kyle Ming. Can he produce the cross? The cross is whipped in! And Pusey got there before Dwayne Atkinson did. Man down injured for Dunbeholden, but the play continues. This is Shakeen Powell. And Webster runs back a long way to strip him, but Narisa goes and says he did so unfairly. Man down for Dunbeholden, holding his head. Looks as if it's Phillips, our goal scorer. Yes, it is. Had a clash with Kyle Ming earlier, and may have been struck a blow to the head. So this is that play. It's the elbow actually. So nothing foul in that play. Ming had a right to go up, and then in landing he had to position himself for landing, and the elbow struck poor Demario Phillips in the head. So Narissa Golson seems to have decided to, you know, let the play flow rather than call niggly fouls. She let that go when Leng fouled Murray, we thought. Then here when Murray on Murray crime, then Duar through the back of Webster. She didn't call the play back on any of those occasions. She's saying, yeah, we're not playing checkers here, gentlemen. Or the stupidest game I've seen human beings playing called Ludo. I never in my life understand why people play that game, Ludo. Are you a Ludo fan, Chris?
Oh yes. I had to rush in there.
Yeah, you had to rush in for the Ludo fans.
Yes.
I know there are many of them out there, Chris. Many of them. Those games are for people who aren't going anywhere for a very long time. Perfect for people in jail, Chris. I couldn't play that, trust me. Christian turns away from Murray and gets away from Leng. Can he produce the cross? It's met by King, rather calm, knowing that he was under no pressure. Campbell's flick. Gets away from Powell, but not from McCarthy. This is Phillips, through to Murray. Murray away from Topi. Wide to Phillips. Can he produce the cross? He goes for the shot. It bounces. Oh, Margrave sweeps in. Vina Bartlett's handling poor. Demario Phillips' shot bounced in front of Bartlett. He did gather cleanly. And who was there? The ace goal poacher, the deadly assassin, the Tafaroy Bygrave, and he plunges the knife into the ribs of the Cavalier team. He sweeps home. That's 2-0 for Dunbeholden.
And 7 on the season for Tafaroy Bygrave. That's why he's the best number 9 in the league. Very aware in that 6-yard area. And as I said, spilt by Bartlett. And yeah, Bartlett. And yeah, easy for Bygrave.
Dave Murray in the build-up. He laid off for Demario Phillips, who switches feet right. He goes for the shot. And the handling, very, very poor by Vino Barkley. Needed to have smothered that. No room for error in this position. And Bygrave needed no invitation.
But just look at the defensive work here. Look at Leng sleeping. Both Leng and King, they're sleeping. They're on their heels. Bygrave certainly, as he saw the shot coming and realized that it was going to bounce in front of Vino, he made himself aware, got himself into a position and reacted. And yeah, excellent potency from the striker. But yeah, that should be a lesson for King and Leng as well. Just too reactive for centre-backs.
Yeah. Giovanni Leng and Richard King comatose on that play, while Tafaroy Bygrave was full of life and anticipating that the goalkeeper would have made a mistake. And he was in the perfect position, and it wasn't luck that he was in that position. It was instinct. And he read the play beautifully. And you know the worst thing? With this man back in the picture, the number 1 for Cavalier is back and available for Vino Barkley to be making that kind of error. When White is back, criminal for him, and yeah, not his proudest moment at all, Vino Barkley. It was kept well for Cavalier in the absence of White.
That bounce was always going to be tricky for him, but he didn't readjust his body in a way to comfort the ball or to welcome it. But still, even after Bygrave made the move, there was still no reaction from the 2 defenders. And yeah, that's something that will anger Rudolph Speed for sure. He was already angry from the first goal, but that will make it doubly hard.
Yeah, which is why I described King and Leng as comatose in that moment. No reaction from them. Bygrave on tap on point to sweep home and Dunbeholden.
This is a fixture that Dunbeholden have enjoyed. They've played 7 matches. Dunbeholden have won 3 out of those 7. 3 have been draws, and just a 1 victory for Cavalier, which came back in 2019. So Dunbeholden continuing their statistical, well, brilliance over Cavalier. Of course, Cavalier, well, if you're looking at statistics, with 4 wins and 3 losses, Cavalier, they don't draw games, so they would need 3 goals from here if they're going to get something out of this.
Speaking of 3 goals, I wouldn't mind a few more in this game to help our average. Phillips in space. Yeah, here's Bygrave in space in the 18-yard box. Chips it inside to Murray. First touch good. Looking for help for Dave Murray. Sets it back for Fabian McCarthy. McCarthy, yeah, doubles over, realizes he really made a pig's ear of that. And that's not part of the Jamaican cuisine, pig's ear. And Bygrave setting it back for him.
We have liftoff.
Yeah, we have liftoff, Houston.
Didn't get the steps right at all, McCarthy, and so kind of bundled himself into the ball.
Never his strong point though. Made his name as a centre half in high school, St. James High, and in his days at Mobile United when he had long hair, the long plaits, the hefty cornrows that he wore in those days, as a central defender. Premier League champion. He's reinvented himself. Cut his hair, grew the beard, growing the beard, and is a central midfielder of metronomic qualities, Fabian McCarthy.
But he already made a statement when he was at the UWI.
Oh yes,
in that midfield role.
Yeah, as I've said before, there were many coaches in the Premier League who thought in those UAE years that Fabian McCarthy was the best midfielder in the island. And when you saw him play in the Premier League on Sundays and Mondays, yeah, you really could struggle to find an argument against that.
No surprise that he plays well in the centre-back role as well, because he has a calm presence. Good pass off the ball, reads it well, his positioning is very good. So he's one of those players you want in the spine of your team and really controls the tempo. He's a leader as well, just by performance.
Yeah, I found a picture of him in some research the other day, and the name and everything matched, and I had to send it to the football sage from the West, Paul Reed, to say, Paul, can you identify that this is Fabian McCarthy because of the long plaits, the long hair, and the different features, no beard. And he said, yes, it's the same man. And I said, well, like Paul on the road to Damascus, well, Saul on the road to Damascus, he had an epiphany. By the time he finished that journey, he became a new man. So this is Favored McCarthy. He's been like this for a few years now, folks, but the quality remains. Superb player. Stumbled by Dyer, but he was lucky that Atkinson was far enough away. He couldn't pinch that one. It's a little subtle thing there, but he could have been in trouble. McCarthy away from 2 challenges. Christian. McCarthy to Pusey. Nice and easy by Dunbeholden. They're full of confidence now, Harold Thomas's boys.
Spoke a little bit too early.
As I say, so they get the ball away.
Very unlike Phillips as well. He's getting a bit impatient, but yeah, I love how they control the tempo within the middle of the park, and the fact that their 2 regular pieces have come back into the jigsaw, it really looks good. Bygrave and Murray. Not that Thomas and company hadn't been doing a good job in and out. Barnes, who had come in for one of the games as well. But yeah, this team, especially in their midfield and forward line, this is their best team.
And I guess the point to be made, as you mentioned, Barnes and Dean Andre Thomas and company, is that football, it's proven, it's a squad game, because you're going to have players missing and you're going to need players to come in and step in and do a job. And while that man had his injury issues, Dean Andre Thomas led the line well. We did a game here, Chris, where Thomas did everything but score that afternoon. He was outstanding.
Yeah.
But didn't get a goal that day for his toil. 3 minutes to be added on at the end of the 45.
That was a problem in itself, eh?
Absolutely.
As I said, great work, but unfortunately the potency, which is what they need as well, Dunbeholden, which Bygrave brings. So, but I agree, his work rate very good. Thomas just needs to work on his clinical ability.
Doxley down. He was caught with a high tackle, but Narissa Golson didn't think there was anything malicious in it. The tackle was executed by Demario Phillips, and Doxley now gingerly back to his feet.
Dwayne Smith, another player who has come in and
yes.
done well. Great work rate. Did get a goal, Dwayne Smith.
Rochester.
So it has deepened their bench yet again.
Yep. And after his free kick scoring cameo off the bench, we haven't seen Jamil Hardware. Not since the second game of the season for Dunbeholden have we seen the ex-Boys Town and Arnett Gardens man. So yeah, she's gonna give him the yellow card. So Demario Phillips, I thought that was a high challenge, but because Cavalier had possession, she let the game flow and made a mental note that at the soonest break she would book Demario Phillips. It was a high challenge on Doxley. May have caught him on the thigh or on the knee. It was so high.
Yeah, I thought that was good officiating, just to let the game flow on that occasion.
Atkinson's corner spear to the back post, and Leng went up. He didn't get there, and it was played across by Kyle Migan. Oh my goodness, Kenroy Campbell's shot packed a lot of power, but it cleared the crossbar. And Leng now arguing with Golson. He felt he was fouled. May have a case because there was an arm to the side of his head. This is the corner from Atkinson. Look at Leng in a tangle with Dewar, and this is Campbell's shot, Kenroy Campbell's shot.
Might have been a slight arm after the play went. For Leng, I think it was Powell was the man who was challenging. No, it was actually Dewar, as you said.
The wind whipping up here at the UAJFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence. And a collision there between McCarthy and Campbell, but Campbell hurt in the collision, but he'll be fine. Probably would want to pull one back before the halftime interval. Not long now to go. This is McCarthy. Yeah, stepped on Campbell, and that's how that particular tangle happened. Bygrave. Well, Dave Murray has talked himself into the book. He wasn't involved in the play, but ran back and said something to Narissa Golson, and she takes his name. So Topi and Richard King. So here he is now. Look at Dave Murray, not retreating as ordered by the referee. Anyway, Topi's long free kick. is handled as it ought to be handled by a goalkeeper. Damien Hyatt showing you, yeah, this is how you smother a ball.
Did Rodave Murray hit out? Because I can't see where Golson actually said something to him anyhow.
It's half-time. She signals the half-time interval. And there is a Golson. And at the break, that man, Demario Phillips, opened the scoring via deflection of Giovanni Leng. And then a Tafaroy Bygrave, goal poacher par excellence, his 7th of the season, to give Dunbeholden a 2-0 lead. And Vina Bartlett's handling for that second goal will be the subject of an inquiry inside the Cavalier dressing room at the half-time break. Back with us at the UWI JFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence Match Week 8 clash between Cavalier and Dunbeholden, and the defending champions have it all to do. They are staring down the barrel, 2-0 down at the break. Nerissa Golson, the woman in charge of this clash. And the Cavalier had the hot start. Webster connecting with Campbell, who lays it off for Atkinson, and his effort blocked by Taylor. Another look at it. Good interplay. But Atkinson's shot sent or deflected high. Atkinson another chance with a glancing header. This corner kick, and this is how the first goal came about. Look at Murray setting it up for Phillips, and his shot deflecting off the back. Really deflected off Lamont Rochester's thigh. I thought it was Gio Leng because I saw him holding his head, but it was actually the youngster Rochester whose thigh lifted the ball up and over his defender and the goalkeeper, and that was how Mount Pleasant, Dunbeholden opened the scoring. Then Rodave Murray did well in this play, laid it off for Phillips, switches feet, the shot comes in, the bounce awkward, and Vina Bartlett's handling not the cleanest. And who else was on the doorstep to sweep home with a Tafaroy Bygrave, goal number 7 on the season. He's not a verified chopper. That's the artist they call marksman, but he's a marksman. A Tafaroy Bygrave. And the numbers from the first half, 10 shots overall. There were 6 shots on target, 4 of them from Dunbeholden, 5 fouls, 3 committed by Dunbeholden, 3 yellow cards, 2 to Dunbeholden players, 2 offside calls, 1 apiece, 4 corners, 3 of them to Cavalier. There were 3 saves, 2 made by the Cavalier goalkeeper, and the possession 50-50. Let's review the action from Sunday, and then we'll go to a break and return with second half action. So Stephen Dewar sending us on the way under overcast conditions. This one will break for Ramon Plummer, who will try an overhead kick that didn't come off. Rohan Richards dribbling from midfield and trying his luck, and only the upright getting in his way. And Xavier Virgo almost turning it into his own goal. And then Richards from this free kick close to the half-time break, sizzling just over the crossbar though. Harrison. The ball works to Lamar Neal, who ought to have done better from that position. And then this is how Virgo got his second yellow card, hauling down Ramon Plummer. And the 2 yellows equal 1 red. Referee Dewar sending the veteran off. Salmon's free kick met by Kevin Graham. And Dennis Taylor producing the sharp save to his left to keep Humberland's sheet clean. Lewis wasted that straight into the arms of Taylor. Not what was required. And Swaby frustrating. And that's the best of the action from the first half.
Slightly out of position, bit deeper, and with only 10 men.
You take hard work, take hard work and dedication as a sacrifice. I start out there, my first position, I was playing on Central at the high school level, and also at the Premier League when I just start out down it.
It was a difficult game. That's what most derbies are like, very difficult, very competitive, very physical. Sometimes the referee had to get a handle of the game because sometimes the game got out of hand. We're very physical. But, the resilience of the team, you have to look at things as half full and half empty. And I have to come up after this game, I have to say it has to be half full because we played with 10 men for the better part of the game, and we fought and we battled. We had to make an early substitution with our captain being substituted, and we had to make some adjustment, put Vishnal Harris back there to really dictate things. And I think that if we were a little bit more clinical, even with the 10 men, we showed our fitness and we showed our purpose, and we should have really gotten something out of the game. But I must give them credit, and they were resilient under all the conditions that were here. And it's another clean sheet, so we have to continue in the same vein, but we just need to start scoring goals.
I'm not too disappointed about the draw, because I think we played a very good game also. They have a lot of experienced players and an experienced coach also. So being down 1 man for them, I think they really showed some resilience in playing like that, and they more play harder. We had a breakaway. Dunsin Cohen is 15 years old. And I think a little bit more experience, a little bit more clinical, would have achieved in this game. But he did a very good job.
So Mason sent us on the way. Christopher Mason, the referee. This was Arbonne into the path of Cephas. His shot, trying to go across Peter Harrison, dragging him to the near post and then going across him. Didn't work. Theon Palmer. No power behind that effort. Easy for Maximus Davis. Then this long pass out the back, Jeremy Nelson breaking 2 lines into the path of Nicholas, his brother, off the upright and off the left-footed cannoned Gerald Neal for the own goal. And that's how Malines United went in front. Very unfortunate from an Arnott Gardens perspective. Deserving for Malines based on their play in that first half. Arnott took a long time to get going. They were listless for much of it. This one off Cephas' shoulder and off the upright with Harrison beaten. Then look at this. That's a save from Peter Harrison. It was swinging all about. He got a touch on it. Then here's Cephas leaving Jeremy Nelson for dead. Cutting inside 2 defenders. And that one needed a deflection to clear Peter Harrison's goal. Then Damari Deacon off the bench. And immediately with his first action, winning that corner. And then this. Running by Sergini Franks. Franks pushes him over. It's a penalty all day. Mason, the referee, says yes. And Cephas will have the chance from 12 yards to draw on it level. Harrison got a piece of it, but couldn't push it over his bar. This goalkeeper, nobody can deny him the man of the match honor because he was the outstanding individual on the show. That's what the man of the match award is for. Then this long pass over the top. Kimani Arboyne, but Peter Harrison with a world-class save to keep it at 2-1. Brilliant. Those words thrown around by people who don't know the meaning of brilliant. That's what brilliant means. Here's Cephas. Kelso kicked away by Harrison. Rashiki Kelson, brilliant save once again. That's what brilliant is, folks. But then this, look at Cunningham into the mix. Arboyne and Jeremy Nelson was heading the ball away, but ended up only heading it into Kimani Arboyne. And that's how Arnott Gardens found their winner. Messy in the end from Oline's perspective, untidy. But Arnott gleeful for the 3 points, coming from behind to beat their Kasafa rivals 2-1. And when referee Mason called for time on this game, it was a breathless second half, much of it.
Well, I would say the header, the one that tipped over the bar, that was my best save, but this one was a tough one, like a fight from the guys on the field.
Yeah, you've broken the sequence in terms of being man of the match on a losing team here, but how did the defenders in front of you on that go-ahead goal for Arnott, how disappointing was it for the way they dealt with that ball in the box?
Very, very disappointed, like a concentration, and Arnott get the best of it.
It was going to be hard. Our assistant coach had to be rushed to the hospital with heart problems, so I don't even know what's happening as yet. I just tried to do the interview as best as possible, but it was going to be hard for the team second half and myself.
Never a guy like Nelson, he's think smart. Because what we planned to lock him down in midfield, but he went straight to the centre half and started playing from there, So the guy didn't follow instruction to go and put some pressure on him. But second half was much different,
We are at the UWI JFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence for the second half of this opening clash of this Monday, doubleheader Monday. Cavalier with it all to do. You can see from the despondent expressions of the Cavalier boys, the first half didn't quite go to script. In fact, it went badly off script. Dunbeholden finding 2 goals and in charge of this game at the break. But there's a full half left to play. Anything can still happen from this point. Cavalier down, but not dead. Bygrave starts us off. And immediately Cavalier get possession. The wind even stronger than in the first half. Perfect conditions to fly kites. The football will struggle. This ball spent a lot of time in the air before it came down for Giovanni Ling to play to Rochester. McCarthy skies one. Phillips can't see it because of the sun. Made an exaggerated show of shielding his hand with his eyes, or shielding his eyes with his hand. Topi on the retreat with Murray looking to close him down. Back to his goalkeeper Bartlett. Bartlett aiming for Kyle Ming. He does well to get there, but it's blocked by a combination of Taylor and Demario Phillips. That's the captain for Cavalier, Kyle Ming, 22 years old, and already a Premier League champion. Not many people can say that they captained the team to a Premier League title at 21 years old. That's what he did last year. That's in the past. It's about defending that Premier League title. And he and his boys have work to do to return to those levels. Chris, the same 11 sent back by Rudolph Speed, but if it stays like this for the next 15 minutes, right about the hour mark, and he's ringing changes, what do you expect him to, or who do you expect him to change, to adjust?
He would have to look to Shanil Thomas, back on the bench. Wasn't in a squad list for the last game, but yeah, that would be the attacking change you would have to make. Central striker. Hopefully to get goals, because obviously you're going to need goals to get back in. I wouldn't be surprised if he even gives an opportunity to the youngster yet again, because we did speak about his confidence coming into this year's Premier League. Obviously we're talking about Cleo Clark, yeah. And the fact that he got the red card, he will be eager to make amends.
Yeah.
And especially as a youngster, sometimes those things can work in your favor. So maybe that he might be toying with that idea as well, which will bring some form of energy to that attacking line and within the attacking midfield area of the park. But apart from that, his bench looks rather thin.
Yeah, I was about to say that to you as well, that it looks a bit short of options without speed. But maybe Gadale Irving, who, as we see Cleo Clark warming up already, Gadale Irving made an impression of the bench last time. Maybe Doxley fires this one goal as it drifts wide though, and harmless in the end. Hyatt only passing interest in it. Yeah, I was saying that Gadale Irving did a job for him last time off the bench. Maybe.
Where would you play him?
He could be summoned.
Yeah, the fact is, Irving
he's versatile on the left. He can play in the defensive positions, but he also in the attack. But you're saying you would adjust over that side?
No, I'm saying that I don't think he's really great going forward. I think Leng does better going forward. So unless it's a forced change, I can't really see what Irving will. Unless you're going to ask Irving to play a regular left-back role and then push Leng higher, then maybe to add some width. But right now, with Atkinson already playing out wide, I think they might be looking for more central positions to alter.
So if you put Shanil Thomas on, who would you take out then?
Surprisingly, it might actually be Campbell who loses a position.
Kenwell Campbell came into this game in good form, but has not quite been at the races so far in this game, as is the case with a couple of his teammates.
The thing is, you don't want to lose the width and the pace on the wings. And I think unless he decides to sacrifice one of those flanks, and if that's the case, it probably will be Atkinson. But yeah, as you said, Cleo Clark warming up as well, so two will be coming out. And to me, it would probably be Atkinson and Campbell.
Yeah,
I think the extra pace and quality that Webster possesses probably will keep him on the park.
Yeah. Hyatt forced into a basketball kind of catch. The ball was spinning and two Dunbeholden defenders allowed it to bounce. Perhaps they were ordered to do so by Hyatt, who fancied himself as the tallest man in that situation to grab the ball at his highest point.
He does have the ex-Manchester captain as well, Marlon Maxwell, on the bench. But I think right now, based on form, he might be preferring Cleo Clark because he's coming in with more confidence. Marlon Maxwell tends to be very hot and cold in his performances, even though he does have quality about him. And maybe Marlon would come into a more central midfield role. I don't think he's looking to alter that area of the field.
Bygrave found himself in a good position, but tight to the touchline, and the ball had tangled between his legs and between his feet rather, and it drifted out for a throw. So much like they started the game, Cavalier, the protagonists in the early phase of this second half. Here's Campbell, tries his luck, and strikes one of the poles holding the netting way behind the goal. And a danger to low-flying aircraft and birds.
2 goals to his name, Kenroy Campbell. He's been in good form, but as you said, today just hasn't looked as dangerous. Only 1 assist as well in the season. But Cavalier have been starved of possession in this first half, and as I said, with Dunbeholden controlling the middle of the park, especially with their 2 regular faces back in Bygrave and Murray, it's made it a lot more difficult for Cavalier. They have bossed the midfield, Dunbeholden.
The wind roaring now here at the UA JFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence. And the players would want to keep this ball on the surface. Here's Leng on a run. Gets away from 2 players. He's broken through into the midfield. Giovanni Leng over the top looking for Ronaldo Webster. And Taylor can shield this out for a throw. But Webster went down holding his face, and Narissa Goldston has given a free kick to Cavalier. She ruled that Taylor fouled Webster with that arm.
Oh, did extend the arm there. Correct call. Had Taylor had out his arms earlier in terms of shielding the ball, I don't think it would have been a big deal. But the fact that Webster was closing him and then he extended the arm in the face, right call. Good job by the assistant.
Kenroy Campbell with this free kick.
That was a little bit silly by Taylor. Lucky not to have gotten booked. And now Cavalier in an advantageous position. An opportunity to get their taller players like Topi and company in the box. Topi, King. Well, King is actually sitting back, but certainly Topi up there.
Dunbeholden have 1 forward, that's for Dave Murray. Everybody is back in the box defending this. There are 6 white shirts in the box and 1 on the outside. That's Dwayne Atkinson.
Leng in there as well, who's good in the air.
Yep, and the tall man Topi, as you'd expect. What can Campbell do from this free kick? Off Duar, who was in a good position. Atkinson places it forward. It's not dead yet. And now Taylor clears lines for Dunbeholden. A couple of appeals for handball from a couple of the Cavalier players, but nothing serious.
Taylor would probably feel a lot better considering he was even the man to get that ball out, considering he conceded a silly free kick. That was very close to the arm of Dua.
Yeah, it hit his thigh. King across the Topi. Cavalier on the front foot to start the second half. They were almost 10 minutes deep and they've been in control ever since the resumption. Murray forward to Webster. Nice flick to Atkinson. It handles off Duarte. It's a penalty. That's a penalty. Ronaldo Webster to Dwayne Atkinson, and his flick trying to dismiss Duarte, and it struck his arm. And referee Goldston has booked him for the infringement. And Cavalier have a penalty. And Jamoy Topi has claimed the ball. It looks as if he's going to strike it.
And the captain is fine with it. Here is a flick. Oh, yes, very good call. Very good call. Silly by Dua. Just a minute ago, it was a touch and go as to whether he had gotten a hand to the ball from the strike from Atkinson. And now facing Atkinson yet again does something very silly by just extending the arm to make sure that Atkinson couldn't go past. And yeah, that's the right call. He has nothing to argue about.
So Topi, Jamoy Topi against Damian Hyatt. Topi 22, Hyatt 36. 12 yards between the ball and the goal line. Can Cavalier get number 1? It's all about numbers. Topi, the slow run up. Topi! And he scores down the middle. Hyatt dived to his left. And just like that, Cavalier have halved the deficit and are very much back in it. Just waited until Hyatt rocked to his left and just put it right down the middle, Jamoy Topi. And Hyatt moving out the way, making the way clear for the big centre half from Cavalier to get his team back up and running.
Yeah, good composure by him. Not often you see the centre back be the man to take the penalty in a situation like this, but great composure. It's good with his feet, Jamoy Topi. And as I said, Hyatt went a little bit too early, way too early, Hyatt. 8th goal of the season for Cavalier. And 2nd for Topi.
Yep. Dwayne Smith going through a vigorous warm-up on the sidelines for Dunbeholden. Looks as if he's about to enter the fray. There he is. Perhaps Harold Thomas has seen something at the start of the second half that he doesn't like. His team have been second best so far in the second half. They've not had a touch in the Cavalier attacking third, Dunbeholden. Leng did very well there over the back of Bygrave to win that header. The boys in black and white have looked purposeful since the resumption. As Dewar goes up with the arm, striking Webster and Narissa Golson whistling for the foul, for the free kick. Taken quickly. Kyle Ming across the box with a flick by Atkinson. Not even sure he got anything on it, but he did stretch that left foot. And Ming very disappointed that Atkinson couldn't make the proper connection.
Yeah, Dunbeholden sleeping as well. 4 players not getting back. And no wonder Smith and company have been asked to get their jersey, get their sweaters off. Or their bibs, I should say. But yeah, Atkinson should have done better. Should have gotten a touch there. Excellent play by Cavalier just to catch them off guard. And for once they were proactive, Cavalier, and the captain Ming. Good delivery into the box. And yeah, Atkinson was there. I'm not sure if his right foot got stuck in the turf and hence was unable to get the touch. But what an opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised, George, if Radave Murray's that change. We did question his fitness and ability to last the time and just not tracking in the same way he would have been doing in the first half. So wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those changes.
Yeah, with you on that. So Dunbeholden trying to re-establish some dominance. Kimoni Bailey is also up, going through his warm-up routine. Both himself and Dwayne Smith look as if they are going to enter the fray shortly, given the intensity of their warm-up routine.
Well, does he pull Christian, or does he shift it around? Does he ask Phillips to play in the central midfield with McCarthy and take off Powell?
Well, I can tell you something. The 3 of the men who won't come off, well, 4, Phillips, Bygrave, McCarthy and Christian will not go. Campbell runs through. Campbell goes down under the challenge but doesn't claim anything. And says he was struck in the face by Taylor. And no call, says the no call made by the referee, and no assistance given to her by her assistant on that score.
Yeah, but I don't like that by Campbell. Campbell cried out and had his hand all over his face. He's gotten up and there's nothing from him. It's obvious that it was really minor and he was play acting. That's poor from Campbell. Oh, that's a slight touch. It's not nearly as bad as Campbell made it out to seem.
Yeah, this one almost as if he was being scalped. This is Leng in the back. Back to Vina Bartlett. So Cavalier have dominated the second half. And they got their goal to show for their work. The goal they didn't get when they were dominant in the first half. And can they build on it? And the question for the boys in blue, can they recover? It's a bad pass played back and Maurice slipping at the vital moment. Flicked forward by Webster. Taylor gets across. Duar clears his lines, clears well. Lovely touch by Murray. Just a chest pass to Leng. Leng away from one challenge, and he can't get it beyond Pusey though. So, 60th minute. Perhaps it is that Woodall Speed will delay any change he was planning to make before the goal because his team are backing it. Lovely by Richard King out of defence. Excellent play by the tall centre half. It's too long for Atkins, or is it? Yeah, because Damien Hyatt, it's in his area. He can use his arms there, his hands there. And we grab that with glee.
Good decisive move by Hyatt, but I think he was still lucky. Had Atkinson had a couple more inches on those legs of his, which are not very long, by any stretch of the imagination, he would have been in.
Yeah, Doxley. A slap in the face of Shaquem Powell. I heard it from our commentary position. Not intentional. Just reached out his arm to protect himself. And did catch Powell. There's no doubt about it. And referee Golson was close to the play. And she whistled for the free kick. This is the replay. Look at the arm extend, the left arm. Yeah. 62nd minute of this clash. Dunbeholden raced into a 2-goal lead, which they kept. Well, didn't race into a 2-goal lead. They got a 2-goal lead by being the better team in the second half of the first half. But they've been distinctly second best in the first half of the second half. Powell with a shot! It's blocked by Topi. And Doxley across to Rochester. Then back to Nicochet Murray into the path of Rochester. Gets away from Pusey. Atkinson. Back heel into the path of Rochester. But it was misdirected. Christian acrobatic to Powell. The Dunbeholden boys want handball. That's a call from the bench. Ignored by Nerissa Golson. Campbell in midfield for Cavalier. Forward to Rochester wide. Duar steals in. And Atkinson ran the wrong way. Knocked it outside for a throw to Cavalier. Here's Duar, his handball, giving away the penalty from which Topi scored Cavalier's goal. Just a battling Christian now. Bygrave has come back a long way to help his team and help them to gain possession. Murray closing down King and recognizing the pressure he was under. King went back to his goalkeeper. So the two substitutes are ready for Dunbeholden. Smith and Bailey both have removed their bibs, and pretty soon they'll be approaching the fourth official with the necessary documents to enter the fray. Christian's cross.
I'd love to see a slight change to the formation. I don't like Christian playing out wide in terms of the flank midfield role. I don't think he does well with that. I think he plays well when he's central. So I would expect a shift around, even if he remains on the park. Players like Phillips and so on do a lot better on the wings because they are pacey players, like to run down, take on players. But Christian is not that kind of player. He's a touch player that wants to play within the middle of the park. He wants to orchestrate things instead of finish them. So I don't think that part of the build-up has really worked. He's looked lost. In fact, look at him. He's rather clean.
So there they are, Bailey and Smith.
And no doubt that Bailey is a wide player.
Yeah. Has a lot of running in Kimoni Bailey. Will work, make the defenders work harder. His use of the ball sometimes not the best. But he'll give you energy, he'll give you work rate. Lovely by Fabian McCarthy. Just to send two men closing him down the wrong way, buying himself some time to make the pass. Possession wasted though because it's Cavalier ball once again. Webster feels Dyer's presence behind him. Back to Ming. Away from Phillips. And around Taylor. Excellent by Kyle Ming into the box. The cross comes in! And it's missed by Dwayne Atkinson. Rochester keeps it alive. The cross comes in once again and he fires it away. It's going to go out for a throw. 2 Cavalier men down. The more serious of them looks to be Kyle Ming. Webster is also down.
You're 2-1 down, needing to get a goal. Kyle Ming overlapping run and only one player in the box. It's unbelievable from Cavalier. Just need to get more players forward. They're almost playing with a 3-5-2 formation, even though it's listed somewhat differently. Great work by Ming, but look at that. One player in the 18-yard box and you're 2-1 down. Crazy. And that's probably why you need the likes of Chanel Thomas and Cleo Clark on the park. Players who want to score. That's probably just the extent of the run. Yeah, Rodave Murray, no surprise there. Just coming back from a prolonged absence. Rodave Murray. And I'm very interested to see who the second change will be. Will it be Phillips, or will they ask Powell to come off and then Phillips to do his usual rotation?
So Shaquille Powell is out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Powell out, Smith in, and Bailey in, and Murray out.
So that's what we thought. Shaquille Powell will come out of central midfield. I expect Christian to go into that pocket. Then Phillips will be asked to play his usual utility role. And yeah, Smith will be a very willing runner to work with Bygrave. Yep. And then the left-footed Bailey on the flank.
This game's a lot about tactics, you know, because yesterday Paul Teague Davis, the Ireland Gardens coach, commented that the plan from his team was to shackle Jeremy Nelson in midfield for Mullines United, only for Jeremy Nelson to start the game in midfield and within a minute retreat to a centre-half position from where he provided the assist for Mullines United's opening goal.
Yeah.
And then he said his team spent the rest of the first half trying to make up for that tactical change. So yeah, it's all about moving pieces around and where your opponents have planned to shackle your best players. So perhaps it is that Harold Thomas said, well, McCoy, we're going to expect you in the engine room. I'm going to play you wide. And he'll say, well, look, we had a 2-goal lead. As we see the 876 Springwater, uniquely Jamaican, they're responsible for the water break. We played that tactic and went 2-0 up, so nobody can say it didn't work. So this is the opening goal. Phillips, the assist from Murray, and the deflection of the thigh of Lamont Rochester.
I thought you were going to say the assist from Lane.
Yeah. And then Phillips with that effort, and Bygrave sweeps home.
Excellent move by Bygrave. 7 on the season for him. Top goal scorer in the Premier League. And this is the penalty for Cavalier in the end. Great move by Atkinson initially, and then precision and calmness from Topi. Hyatt went too early. But it's made it a really good game now. Cavalier back in the business. And as expected, well, no, it's like it's probably going to be Phillips that remains alongside McCarthy. I thought they would have brought Christian into that position and then asked Phillips to play in the 3. Because of course they're still playing the 4-2-3-1. Obviously the 2 flank players will be Smith and Bailey.
Ming, back up and running after that medical break. Topi spears it forward, looking for Webster. On the chest, Webster takes it. Goes down under the challenge from Duar, trying to buy a free kick, you thought. But then Duar, with the big frame, shields it out for a goal kick. So the engine of Dunbeholden's attack needs to be restarted. They've not gotten going as an offensive threat in the second half because Cavalier have taken the game to them, got the goal to halve the deficit, and are still on the front foot. Cleo Clark looks as if he's going to come in anytime now. Just called by Rudolph Speed. He's taken off his bib, the Garfield Maceo schoolboy, and he's walking with his note to give to the 4th official. He'll be Cavalier's first change. Doxley got there ahead of Smith, but it's into touch for a throw. Throw will go to Cavalier. That's free kick actually. Leng in midfield to Doxley. Murray now. Back to Leng. Topi. Free. Found. Ming to his right. But he goes to Webster. Good pass. Webster in the box. Webster with the right-footed cross. Not his stronger foot. We all know that. And it wasn't the best. This is Doxley though. Murray. And ball appeal. Dangerous by McCarthy to dribble across his 18-yard box. He's under pressure from Ronaldo Webster. And he wins a goal kick in the end. But very dangerous. Just ran right across his 18-yard box under pressure. The fourth official signaling to the referee that he wants a change made. But she has not seen him yet. Narisa Golson hasn't. She just spotted him now to the corner of her eye. So number 14 comes out. That's Lamont Rochester, the youngster, the 18-year-old, to be replaced by Cleo Clark. One team representing one team, replacing another team. And let's hope Clark lasts longer than the 2 minutes he did in his previous appearance this season when he was red carded.
Well, there'll be a shift in the on-field personnel then, because that means that Campbell is going to go into a deeper role, because obviously Cleo Clark plays as an attacking midfielder. So he will go into that in the 3-4-1-2. He'll be the one, Cleo Clark. So sure if the two have worked though, George, because both Webster and Atkinson are wide players, but you're asking them to play as a two, as almost like two centre forwards.
Yeah, and that's not their game.
Yeah, and they're too wide apart for that kind of role. So it doesn't really work. It works when you play against a team that press very high, and so you can play that ball over the top and they use their speed, which is how they scored coming off the bench. But in a very compact unit like Dunbeholden, who
are not going to give you that space behind,
and they're very strong in the spine. So. Yeah, that's not going to work so well. I don't think that this tactic has worked for this matchup.
Leng.
They've been better in the second half, but still, they don't get enough players into the box, Cavalier, to get the goals, and that's part of their problem.
Taylor looking for a pass. And he's robbed, Taylor, as he dithered, trying to decide what to do with it. Webster with it for Cavalier. Doxley shifts it to Murray, always in space. Nikashe Murray trying to slip a pass through to Atkinson, but McCarthy got in the way. Christian clips it to Bygrave, pushed off it by Leng, and Leng kept it in. Yes, he did. Very good by Giovanni Leng, marking the danger man at Afroy Bygrave.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job on Bygrave. Yes, he has scored, but apart from that opportunity, he hasn't had a lot of joy, Bygrave, especially in the second half. So credit to Cavalier. What they haven't done enough of Cavaliers to get players in goal-scoring positions in this second half. And hopefully with the introduction of this man, Cleo Clark.
Lovely first touch by the schoolboy.
16 goals on the schoolboy season for Cleo Clark.
Giovanni Leng with a lovely turn to get rid of Pusey on that right-hand side, and he was fouled executing that turn. And Narisa Golson spotted the infringement. It's a free kick to Cavalier. Leng is off the pitch hurt, he says. Maybe he's just tired. Back running, he's fine. Chadino Thomas warming up for Cavalier. So to Colin Anderson. So looks as if with all speed is going to make two more substitutions. There's Thomas. Free kick comes in, and it's met. Atkinson's shot is blocked by Damien Hyatt. Big save by the big keeper. Needed to produce something. There's a man down for Dunbeholden. It's McCarthy. Doesn't normally go down, so must have taken a kick, pointing to the right calf. But for a moment there, the ball broke. So this is the original header from Taylor. This is Atkinson's shot, and that's a cracking save by Damien Hyatt, getting his big frame there. Anything will do. Atkinson's corner, whip to the back post. It's met by Kyle Ming. And the second header, Giovanni Leng went up for it, but he missed it.
Good defensive work. Not sure who is down. The previous attempt, Taylor was guilty of playing it back into the business area, and Taylor's really been exploited in the second half, and he's had a few errors. It hasn't cost him much so far. But again, ball put into the box. Leng did have an opportunity to get ahead on the ball.
It was Powell who jumped. It was Phillips who jumped with him and put him off right there.
Yeah, good work by Phillips, who is not the tallest player, but certainly good positioning from him.
Mainly through to Bygrave. Bygrave trying to run around Richard King, who's taller than Bygrave and a strong man as well. Richard King, even though he's 20 years old. And the move of an experienced centre half there. This is McCarthy for Dunbeholden. Smith. Smith robbed by Doxley. Cavalier have had 65% of the possession in the second half. Dewar misses it. Webster! It's blocked! Taylor got across to execute the block. As Webster wound up that he was going to really blast it goalwards. But out of nowhere, Taylor came across and stretched the leg to block it. This is Dwayne Smith. Lovely pass from Christian. And Smith couldn't control. He wasn't offside either. And Christian gives him the death stare. Can't believe he didn't bring that ball under control. McCarthy fouls Ming meanwhile. And we've had action at both ends in both 18-yard boxes.
Yeah, what a beautiful pass that was from Christian. What a ball to Dwayne Smith. And he had so much time to bring it down and made a meal of it. Probably went to control it with the wrong foot initially.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Campbell's cross is blocked by Pusey. Smith beaten to it by Doxley. Doxley wins it in front of Christian. Cavalier just looking as if they're hungrier at the minute. Loved by Campbell. Murray over the top. This is Doxley. Doxley with a shot! It's blocked once again. And Dunbeholden's players flinging bodies in front of the ball because they have to. Cavalier really knocking at the door and knocking loudly. This is Bygrave. He's off on a sprint. King can't get back to him just yet. Bygrave is into the box. Bygrave needs help. He's run it into touch and it's a goal kick.
Good release pass. And Bygrave just didn't get the angle. It was good defending by King. Even though he was a step behind, he made sure he cut the angle so Bygrave couldn't get in front of him. And kept him wide, so it wasn't as dangerous. Bygrave, but yeah, the midfield looking a little light for Dunbeholden, even though they have made the changes. And as you said, Cavalier looking a lot more hungry. Campbell has come alive within the middle. Clark has added some touch, so more players getting forward for Cavalier, and it looks better.
So the cramp has affected Pusey. That man is Taniel McKenzie, player with Premier League experience for the UWI. Pusey, haven't seen much of him this season, so we can understand why he has cramp. And Doxley removed once again, but this time he doesn't kick any water bottles. And Shaniel Thomas has come into the park, or has come into the game to replace Melvin Doxley.
As expected, Shaniel Thomas, more of a central figure, so he will help the likes of Atkinson and Webster. Now they can play in their regular roles, which are wide. Shaniel Thomas can play as that central striker, so that will give them a little bit more focus. Cavalier, a bit more of a focal point.
Campbell's cross! Shaniel Thomas's first touch could have been a goal, but somehow he didn't make the good connection and he steered it behind for a corner rather than goalwards. That would have been some introduction.
Yeah.
Cracking cross from Kenroy Campbell under pressure. And look at this. Oh, Shaniel Thomas got that wrong.
Looking to open his right boot, but got off the heel in the end. Just not getting the timing right, Shaniel Thomas. But yeah, that's the role he will play. There's going to be a figure, a player in the box now for Cavalier to aim at.
Campbell wins it in front of Christian. Cavalier just seem more purposeful, seem hungry, seem more aggressive. Almost as if they're bullying Dunbeholden. But with that, it still remains 2-1 to the team in blue. Dyer, header to McCarthy, under pressure, and he's robbed, stripped of it. Webster quickly to Atkinson, Atkinson to Shaniel Thomas. Thomas into the path of Cleo Clark. And Dwayne Smith deemed to have fouled Ronaldo Webster. Doesn't agree with the call. But it's a free kick in a potentially dangerous position.
Yeah. A kick into the Achilles. Webster got there first. Quicker than Mackenzie to the ball, and that's been the story of the second half. The 50-50 duels. Cavalier being the quicker to the ball. So they've won most of them, especially in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Coulson making an exaggerated show of the whistle, telling them, well, no quick free kicks this time. Free kick can only be taken after I indicate with the whistle. Topi, confident after stroking home the penalty. He's on free kick duties here, Jamoy Topi. What a story if the centre half scores a penalty and then scores a free kick. Hyatt. A four-man wall in front of him. Topi. The wall does its job. Nickashay Murray with the loose ball. And it can't even hit the dormitory facility here at this centre of excellence. The SportsMax app moment courtesy of this man, Atafaroy Bygrave, in the first half. Phillips' shot not handled cleanly by Vino Bartlett, and Atafaroy Bygrave there to poach. And he bags himself another goal, his 7th of the season. The SportsMax app download now to watch the best in sport. NBA, SportsMax Zone, UEFA Champions League, Portal to Rush to watch the English Premier League. Carifta games coming up, Commonwealth games coming up. The NBA League Pass, meaning that you can choose which game you want to watch, and if you're watching one and you're tired of it, you can switch to another one. All of those available through the SportsMax app. Download it through the Google Play Store or the App Store. And of course, the best sport in the world, Sport of Kings, horse racing, live, available there. Phillips' shot! Oh, it whistled by the right side. Bartlett interested. It took a deflection. It did take a deflection. And that's what carried it wide of Bartlett's goal. Left Phillips' boot on target. Yeah, it took a deflection just off the shoulder of a Cavalier man. And behind.
Was it King?
It was Nickashay Murray. Maybe either Murray or King, one of the two.
Looked like King. When I saw him set up, I thought he was rather ambitious from that distance, Phillips.
Well, you forget it's Phillips. He kicks the ball really, really well. This is Nicoy Christian, though, on corner kick duties. So for the moment, Dunbeholden look to have staunched the bleeding. The near post corner. Ooh, it's missed at the back post by Duar. Two Dunbeholden men holding their heads. And Duar collided with the upright. And how he missed this at the back post, nobody knows.
Wow, what a miss. Lovely ball by Christian yet again. The trajectory was excellent. Poor defending by Cavalier. Nobody at the back post. Everybody looking around in white shirts. And yeah, that's what happens when you have forwards who don't know much about defending at the post. They want to get forward.
Yep.
King in no position. Neither was Ming and company. And yeah, that should have been put away. That should have been 3-1. Almost certainly would have killed off the tie.
King. Leng.
Cavalier, their last couple of games have ended very strongly. You remember the last encounter, all 3 goals coming in the second half.
Yep. Phillips once again into the path of Dwayne Smith. Robbed by the retreating Kyle Ming, who's upset with his goalkeeper that he didn't show initiative to come out earlier. But it works out in the end. 84th minute. So the time is running out. King is turned over to Dwayne Smith. Looks around, realizes his passing options are limited. Bygrave steps away from one challenge. This is Bygrave into the path of Nicoy Christian. Christian checks back on the left foot. And the pass he was intending to find was Dwayne Smith. And he couldn't find him. And then there was an infringement by Smith, stepping in as King attempted to clear the lines for Cavalier.
still not fully certain at the back, Cavalier, and something that King needs to sort out. He was so excellent in the last game in their 3-0 win, Richard King, but today a little bit reactive. And not just him, the rest of the defense line as well. Second half certainly better going forward, but again, Dunbeholden have been able to find holes and opportunities.
Phillips over dribbles. Got away with it from the first challenge, but not from the second. Gives it over to Topi. Finds Webster. He's played that pass a couple of times and Dunbeholden still no wiser to it. Webster clipped it over for Atkins, who got the header. But he was standing when he made connection. Really would not have hurt Damon Hyde from that position unless via a howler from the keeper, and the keeper made no howler. Hyatt, good throw. Gets Christian going over the top. Can't beat Topido with chest. Aiming for Kimoni Bailey wide. Kyle May will run Taylor. Excellent tackle by Taylor this time. One of the few duels he's won against the Cavalier captain. Taylor wants support. Turns in a circle and gives Nikishimori the slip for the moment. Battling away, Taylor. Still battling Taylor. Goes down and it's Cavalier ball. King over the top, looking for Shaniel Thomas. It's met by Duar. Dwayne Smith mistimed his jump. King sliding through and winning the ball. Still Richard King going forward into the path of Shaniel Thomas. Good first touch, he goes down. No call on the play. Marisa Gosa says play on. Bygrave. Chest trap could have been better, but he was trying to find Nicoy Christian. He put too much power in the pass. Cavalier playing with it in a sector of the field that Dunbeholden wouldn't mind them having it. It's good for Dunbeholden for Cavalier to have possession here. It's bad for Cavalier to have possession here. King surveys the landscape in front of him. Goes back to Topi, saying you pass it long. Comes wide to Kyle Ming. Taylor comes to him once again. Duar steps in and knocks it away from Webster. So we're going to replay that incident just now where Shaniel Thomas went down in the penalty box. He took the ball. I think he just took some of the ball. Duar. I think that's a good call.
Good tackle. Good tackle by Duar.
Over the top, looking for Kenroy Campbell. It's cleared by Busey. Back to King. Over the top again. Duar meets it once again. Cleo Clark now in some space. Tries a shot. It's helped on by Dwayne Atkinson. But hopeless, well, hopeful more than anything else. Hyatt goes down and Webster is holding his ankle and berating the Dunbeholden goalkeeper, who's about 16 years his senior. This is Kimoni Bailey. Can he get there? Bartlett comes across and Bartlett in landing. I don't know if he may have landed on the head of Kimoni Bailey, but that looked rather painful. And that may be what happened. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a slow motion. Look at this angle, Chris.
Yeah.
He comes down and he lands.
He missed it.
Ooh, yeah. Some of his, a part of his torso came down on Bailey's head.
Not much of him. He landed awkwardly as well.
Yes.
Know. Look at how he landed. It could have been rough on his shoulders. Here, look at that. He could have easily have ripped out his shoulder, Bartlett. And he dodged most of Bailey, which was good. Had the full body weight come down on Bailey's head. It could have been a different story, but I think he'll be okay. But Barkley ending like that with the arms exposed. Could have been a shoulder injury. Great to see nothing much for both.
You may be witnessing the concussion protocol in effect for Kimoni Bailey, who looks to be fine to continue. This is Bygrave. to Taylor. Across the 18-yard box to nobody in particular, but then Dwayne Smith from the miscontrol from Giovanni Leng, a snapshot. Didn't get much of it, but he required a save from Vino Bartlett. Campbell can't get around Phillips. Phillips into space for Bygrave, who's offside.
What a worker Phillips is.
Yeah, it was a rather lazy attempt by Campbell to dribble around him.
Demar Phillips, he's been excellent.
Yep.
Not only a goal, but just the fact he's been able to play so many positions for Harold Thomas and company.
Yep.
And done them efficiently. He's broken a lot of plays. Look at even how he challenged for that ball with Leng's opportunity at the back post as well.
Ming to the back post. It's cleared by Dyer. And then Clark barges Smith off the ball. And the referee deeming that it's a free kick. So yeah, Demario Phillips needs my man of the match vote. That's him. I don't think there's a better crosser of the ball in the Premier League this season, and there are some good ones around. The two Harbourview boys, Staple and Harding, excellent. But Phillips on the run, and the dead ball, his delivery is immaculate. Duar under pressure. He sweeps it away and buys his team some time. 4 minutes, we're into those 4 minutes now, well into those 4 minutes of added time. Webster's cross, headed away by Dyer, cleared further by Duar. Lovely first touch by Richard King and a change of pace to leave Nicoy Christian for dead. This is Cleo Clark, back to King. Across to Ricochet, pass to Kenroy Campbell, and his first touch just a little bit too heavy, and Pusey was able to nip across and play it outside for a throw.
And on the contrary, Dunbeholden, when they have gotten back, very aware. Look at how many blocks they have gotten in. Look at how many loose balls. Yeah. Look at how many loose balls they have challenged. Excellent challenge by Phillips
challenging again.
Yes.
That was Cleo Clark. And Phillips putting his body on the line. And now Damon had. So Dunbeholden have hung on a bit, to be fair, in this second half, but they are close to getting the job done and not afraid to put bodies on the line to get a block in that 18-yard box.
Feeling a bit of pain as well. Demario Phillips landed awkwardly, but he's up and running yet again, and that's what Harold Thomas loves about him. His willingness to give 200%.
Yep.
In whichever position he's asked.
Taylor lands heavily and wants to communicate to Nerissa Goldson that he's hurt.
In fact, you wonder if, heaven forbid, an injury was to happen to Hyatt, it might be Phillips who would take up the gloves.
Yep. Maybe because of his height, they tell him no. So usually
he'd be willing.
Yeah, he'd be willing. He'd volunteer, I'm sure. Christian wanted to take the throw, but it's a Cavalier ball. Rashawn Taylor got there, and just to make sure, he clears the ball out of the center of excellence, but no yellow card. Webster's cross is met by McCarthy. All hands on deck in the defensive third for Dunbeholden, as Duar plays it outside for another throw. Why is Christina walking around with a yellow card in his pouch? I will never know. But there you go. Ming needs a football to get the game restarted, and he can't find one. And one of the ball boys has found one indeed.
Once an official, always an official.
There you go. It's behind. It's going to be a corner. So Cavalier have this corner.
For going off points, Cavalier would certainly have won the second half.
Yes.
But unfortunately,
they lost the first half.
Yeah.
2-0. They're winning the second half 1-0. And yeah, but yeah. Campbell with this chance though. They bought a drink at the Last Chance Saloon. Can they drink it is the question. Can they snatch the late leveler? Everybody in the box bar the man taking the corner kick and their goalkeeper, and Atkins who's perched on the edge of the 18-yard box. Campbell's kick goes to the back post. It's kept alive, and Taylor with the big boot sending it upfield. Bartlett on the half line. And that's all the time that has been given in this game. Nerissa Goldson calls time. Dunbeholden have hung on to win the game. 2-1 over Cavalier. outplayed in the second half, the boys in blue, but they've done the business, done their job from the first half where they took a 2-0 lead into the halftime break. And they held the lead steadfast despite the pressure from Cavalier and then putting one back early in the second 45 minutes. Misery for Rudolph Speed and his men. Happiness and relief for that man, Harold Thomas, and his boys from St. Catherine. Final score, Dunbeholden 2, Cavalier 1. Full match highlights. Webster early. Across to Campbell. Lays it off for Atkinson. His shot blocked by Taylor. Another angle of that. And then this is Phillips. Forward to Bygrave. Will strike early. Firm shot, but Bartlett, his positioning good. Handling, dodgy, but more on that later. Then from this corner, flicked across. Cavalier can't find the ball. Murray finds it and gives it to Phillips, whose shot deflects off Rochester and over King and into the back of the net. That's how Dunbeholden got goal number 1. Another angle of it. And we're going to show you why Bartlett's handling was prominent in this first half. This is Rodave Murray away from one challenge, away from another. He'll pass it to Phillips, switches feet, right-footed strike, not handled cleanly by Bartlett, and a tough Roy Bygrave flies down like a vulture. And he sees dead meat, the ball. And he deals with it. His 7th goal of the season. Atkinson trying to flick the ball around Sean Dewar, who gets his hand in the way. They appeal and they're given the penalty, which Topi strokes right down, dead center of the goal. Hyatt falling away to his left. And that was 2-1. And then a case of bodies on deck. A good save from Hyatt at his near post. Atkinson blasting this goalwards, but the keeper's big frame in the way. And then Ming with the header across, and Leng couldn't connect under pressure from Phillips. And then late, Dewar can't believe he didn't get a toe to it at the back post from Nicoy Christian's corner. And Nicoy Christian's corner not turned home. There is a goal ending the game there. And we had 18 shots overall. We had 11 on target, 6 by Cavalier, 11 fouls, 8 committed by Dunbeholden, 4 yellow cards, 3 of them to Dunbeholden players, 3 offsides, 2 to Dunbeholden, 7 corners, 5 of them to Cavalier, 2 saves apiece, and Cavalier 69% possession, but losing the football game 2-1. Chris Taylor has our man of the match, Demario Phillips.
Demario, excellent performance by you, a goal and assist. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm feeling very great. I've put in the work in the training, so I just come out here and just do what I train to do.
You're certainly Mr. Utility for your coaching staff. You can play in any position.
Well, we train hard and we understand the game, and the coaches teach us well. So anything that he says, we just do.
How do you feel today you're actually playing in the attacking midfield? Which one is your favorite position actually?
Well, it doesn't matter, but attacking midfield.
All right, excellent stuff. All the best to you next week. Congratulations on your performance.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Technical Director Rudolph Speed of Cavalier will now join me. Rudolph, coming off of a top performance last week, not necessarily as clinical this week, especially in the second half.
Well, yeah, we were just giving away gifts in the first half, like it was Christmas. And then in the second half, when we got ours, we didn't take them. So that's how the game goes.
Do you feel the formation, because I thought Webster and Atkinson are a little bit wide, they generally play as wide forwards. Was it that you were missing that central striker earlier in the game?
Well, yeah, we were, but we didn't have a player to play in that role, so we just had to make good with what we had. So that's what happened there.
All right, all the best, Rodolphe.
Thank you.
Take care. Rodolphe Speed, Technical Director there of Cavalier. And Ricardo Smith now joins me, assistant coach of Dunbeholden. Ricardo, big 3 points for you here today. I realize you're certainly enjoying the Captain Harris Burrell Center.
Yeah, man. Very, very good 3 points here today. We lost last week, and we bounced back this week. We can't complain.
One question with 2 parts. Jamil Hardware, when will we see him again? And how good was it to have Rodave Murray and Bygrave back in the starting 11?
Yeah, we decided the first with the two strikers. We decided that we need to go two strikers in this game, and we saw where they were giving a lot of pressure to the defenders of Cavaliers. So that was the reason why we put two strikers out there today. And for hardware, we're not sure. We're not sure. That's the only thing I could say.
All right, excellent stuff. Enjoy your 3 points. Big performance today, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
So 2-1, Dunbeholden beating Cavalier in the first game of our Monday doubleheader. The defending champions falling yet again. The slick Dunbeholden back on the winning trail.